cats and kittens. So we rescue all animals, all breed mixes, all sizes and ages.
Amazing. Yeah. So it looks like we are just a few minutes out from our next giveaway. So once again, if you're interested in winning, let's show them off again, some of the holistic Hound treats. Oh, hello. Oh, be nice to the other puppies. Be sure to let us know that you're tuning in, that you are watching this right now. And you have a chance to win some of the CBD dog treats, the CBD tincture, and Dr. Richter's book, The Ultimate Pet Health Guide. And also, those of you who are watching, feel free to drop a comment and let us know if you have any specific questions regarding your pet's health and how you can be applying CBD to their regimen. Uh-oh. We need to be nice to each other. So, Dr. Richter, can you just tell us a few of your thoughts on this and maybe what you've heard from some of your clients and or your patients?
Sure. So, cannabis can be beneficial for dogs and cats in much the same way that it is for people. So we often see positive effects in treating things like stress, anxiety, seizures, gastrointestinal disease, pain, soreness, etc. Dogs and cats have an endocannabinoid system in much the same way that do people. And as you know, I'm sure you're aware, the endocannabinoid system is it's a system of neurotransmitters in the body that allows the body to sort of maintain what's called homeostasis, or basically to keep the body sort of level and on an even keel. So the appropriate use of cannabis as medicine in pets is just as valuable as it is in people.
Amazing. So exciting. And you know what? It looks like it's time for our next giveaway. So, our first giveaway, I should say. So it looks like our very first winner is going to be winning all 3 of these amazing products, as well as the Ultimate Pet Health Guide from Dr. Richter. And it just came in. Congratulations to Alyssa Laz. We really can't wait to get these to you. So we're really excited to share this with you. And you guys, there's still a lot more to be giving away. So please stay tuned. If you have questions, let us know. We want to know more about your pets. Maybe drop a comment and tell us what type of animal you have and what their name is. Mm-hmm. I always like learning about cute names that are out there.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, we use names a lot. We need good names.
Yes, unique names. They're so needed. I used to name all of my dogs when I was younger after food. I had brownies and biscuits. And
these guys are named after food.
Really? Oh, yeah,
Bun, cookie, nutmeg. Yeah.
They're so adorable.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Richter, so you were mentioning the endocannabinoid system. Mm-hmm. Can you maybe touch on how, I'm just curious, is it similar to ours that we have? Because we do talk often about the human endocannabinoid receptors and how we're basically made to receive this medicine and this plant.
Right. And it's a really excellent point. And the endocannabinoid system in dogs and cats is very, very similar to that in people, in so much as that it serves the same purpose, it functions in much the same way. But the one really important difference that people need to be aware of is dogs in particular have a greater concentration of what are called CB1 receptors in their brainstem. And what that means in a practical sense is it makes them much more susceptible to the effects of THC. Okay. So THC is certainly something that can be used as medicine in dogs, but it has to be dosed very, very carefully because dogs, they can have some fairly profound negative effects to THC if it's given in too high of a dose.
Okay, so we talk quite often about microdosing as humans that are choosing to use the medicine and use THC. So what you're saying for a dog, because essentially the effects may be amplified in their bodies, if we were to apply any THC to their regimen, it should be a micro dose.
Well, yes. In veterinary medicine, we always dose medication based on the condition that's being treated and the size of the dog. So there's some math involved. And I would always very, very strongly recommend anybody that's going to use a product with THC in it for their pet that they consult with their veterinarian before they do so.
Okay, absolutely. Always consult your local veterinarian. They know what they're talking about. And thankfully, this is not something that we need to be afraid to talk to them about, correct?
That is correct. There are, it is still a bit of an interesting landscape for veterinarians in California right now. As of January 1st, we are allowed to, quote, discuss cannabis for our patients. So that is something that your veterinarian is allowed to talk with you about. So certainly don't hesitate to ask.
Great. The philosophies may vary, but thankfully there are a lot of resources as well to get great information and insight, as well as reliable products, such as Holistic Hound. Heidi, would you mind touching a little bit on maybe some of the success stories that you've heard from people who have used your products?
Well, one that comes to mind is a woman that wrote us. She had a 10-year-old 4-pound Chihuahua that went in for teeth cleaning under anesthesia.
Okay.
And when the dog came out, he started having 50 seizures a day. And they put him on traditional medication, in this case phenobarbital, and that reduced the seizures down to 30. But the dog was still suffering a lot. And so she started giving CBD in conjunction with the phenobarbital, and it took the seizures down to about 3 a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so that made a huge difference. And then there was another dog, a woman had a 15-year-old girl, Lucy, and she had severe arthritis and was giving traditional anti-inflammatories, which impacted her liver in this particular case. They don't always, but in this particular case, the dog couldn't tolerate them. Lucy couldn't tolerate them. So she took them, with her veterinarian's help, took her Lucy off of all the anti-inflammatories and put her on CBD. And that made a huge impact. I mean, she was barely able to get up before CBD, and afterwards, she was not only going on walks, but even started to trot a little bit. So pretty profound.
Amazing.
Again, yeah.
We have a very big success story and puppy actually that's in here, and we'll be introducing that special guest a little bit later today. And I can't wait to bring Cho in.
Yes.
Because it's just living proof that this is really wonderful medicine that can help. It's not a cure-all, and I think that's important that we do recognize that, but it can be used as a healthy part of their lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And it looks like we have an audience question that came in. So the question is, what would you recommend for our Shih Tzu who has separation anxiety and the tendency to scratch himself until he bleeds? We have to keep him clothed, otherwise he will just scratch and scratch himself. So this is a little tough, and I think I would love some of your input, Dr. Richter, just from what would you recommend in general as a holistic veterinarian?
So, I can't make specific recommendations for a pet that I've not seen, but just based on the description, I mean, it seems pretty clear that this cute little doggy has some pretty severe allergies. So, possibly looking at what the dog is eating, maybe getting him switched over to a fresh whole food diet rather than processed food. There are certainly no shortage of natural supplements, herbs, and whatnot, that can be helpful from both an anxiety perspective as well as to help with allergies. And as we were discussing, CBD in particular can be beneficial for anxiety also. So I think that there's a lot of options there, but as is the case with people, chronic allergies are a complicated issue. And often take a little bit of time and a little bit of work to get them sorted out.
Absolutely. Heidi, have you heard of people using your supplements for anxiety specifically?
Absolutely. It's the number one reason right now why people seek out these products,
Really?
to help calm their animals. And as you said, it's not a panacea. It doesn't work in every case, but we just have so many success stories with people having success, treating anxieties. Sometimes they'll need to do other things as well, but oftentimes that does the trick. And then the other, the main reasons that people seek it out beyond anxiety is inflammation, pain. It has anti-tumor properties, anti-seizure. So
Beautiful. Okay, well, this is a good thing. This is good to know.
Yeah.
Lynn, I would love to follow up on this as well and just talk about the adoption and kind of a rescued dog versus maybe a dog that comes from a breeder. And what are some of do you see that there is a higher chance of them having anxiety depending on their age and whatnot? All of these dogs look very relaxed, by the way. So we don't see much anxiety in this room yet.
We do rescue a lot of dogs that have anxiety issues. For some, that's why they ended up in an animal shelter, because they had separation anxiety and were, destructive in their homes or barking, carrying on, and becoming a nuisance somehow. So CBD definitely helps for that, and it also helps in cases where, say there's a hoarding case where people are just neglecting the dogs and there's way too many of them, and you pull them out of those situations where they're in their home and that's all they've ever known is maybe this one person that lost track of having too many animals and didn't seek out help, early on, and then they breed and they breed more, and the dogs get very little attention, individual attention. So, there'll be 20, 30, 40 dogs all in one home, and then they end up in an animal shelter. They're freaked out. So then we take some of them, and it's a slow process, but CBD definitely helps them in relieving some of the stress and anxiety of facing the new world and a new place that they've never been anywhere but the backyard that they were born in. So we find that very helpful. And then, for inflammation, it's a godsend. Our older dogs and our dogs at our sanctuary really benefit from CBD.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think relocating is scary even as a human who knows what's happening. So imagine, not really having the know-all of what's happening.
Never been in a car, never been on a leash, never been anywhere other than the backyard.
Have that structure. It's so real. Well, I think that we're just a few minutes away from our next giveaway. So just to remind everybody, if you are tuning in, drop us a little comment. Let us know maybe what furry friend you have at home. And be sure to share the link to this live stream to one of your social media pages and let us know that you've done that. We want to spread the word. We want to get others, give them the tools to really take care of their pets in the best way, which is holistically and naturally, and preventative measures versus having to go when it's an emergency, right?
Sure.
So very
it's whole body health for dogs, just like it's whole body health for humans. I mean, it just really helps take the, a little chill, a little, stress, anxiety relief from shelter dogs. It makes a big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Richter, we did talk a little bit about this, but what does it mean to be a holistic veterinarian versus a traditional veterinarian? I'm not quite sure what the correct terms would be.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we use the term holistic. In my office, I use the term integrative medicine because we practice both conventional Western medicine as well as holistic. But really what holistic medicine means, as you were just saying, is we're looking at treating the entire patient. So we're not looking at the dog or the cat as a collection of symptoms, if you will. We're looking at them as a whole, and really with holistic methods and holistic philosophy, really our goal is to try and support the animal's body so they can get better on their own. And that's really what this is about, is how do we make these guys as healthy as we can so that their bodies can get healthy on their own and then stay healthy. Because, the better the nutrition, the better we support their immune system and support their body, the less likely they are to get sick later.
That's so true. Yes, and we really are a collective of all of these different things, and the mental health affects the body and vice versa,
yes,
right?
Yes, it does.
So we have another question. This viewer has asked, I am trying to find out if CBD reacts with Deramax and gabapentin. I have a terrier about to turn 15 years old on May 25th. He's 16 pounds and suffers from arthritis. And I know that you're not allowed to recommend CBD, but have you ever heard of CBD interacting with other medications in a negative or positive effect?
That's a really great question. And while there are some hypothetical situations where CBD may be something that we have to keep an eye on as far as other medications go, I would say from a clinical perspective, from a practice perspective, I've seen a lot of dogs on non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Deramax and medications like gabapentin, and also be on CBD or other forms of cannabis and do just fine.
Okay.
So speaking in the bigger picture sense, I don't think it's something to be super concerned about.
Okay, good. That's great news.
Yeah.
That makes all of us feel better,
Absolutely.
right? And it looks like our next winner has been announced. So, Chic P, thank you so much for tuning in. You have just won some of the Holistic Hound's amazing supplements. We have a full spectrum oil, as well as some treats, as well as Dr. Richter's Ultimate Pet Health Guide. Hopefully you can apply all of these things to your dog's everyday regimen and really see a difference in their lives. So thank you for tuning in. For the rest of you who are still wanting to win, once again, the way that you are going to be able to win is to take the link to this live stream and post it to your social media page, and then let us know that you've done that and show that link to us. So let's continue, which is so exciting, huh?
Thanks.
This
Yes.
is so great. Yes. So Heidi, I'd like to talk a little bit more now about the supplements, and let's actually get into this because I was a little surprised when I saw this. It says hemp and mushroom bites. So let's get into this. I understand the hemp and the CBD side. What's with the mushrooms? Tell me more.
Well, I have always been a big proponent of medicinal mushrooms. So these are non-hallucinogenic, safe mushrooms that have been used for food and medicine for thousands of years, just like cannabis. I've sold mushroom supplements in my store for years and also have taken them myself for years. And so when we were formulating the hemp supplements, we decided to include the mushroom. They have a lot of similar healing benefits. Mushrooms are also a really important immune support. They're a powerful antioxidant. They're anti-inflammatory. They help regulate blood sugar and blood cholesterol. And they're great to regulate the histamine response and allergies. So there's a lot of great benefits. So we feel like it's a really powerful blend, the two, the CBD and the mushrooms.
Wow, I had no idea. Dr. Richter, have you ever recommended mushrooms or applied them as well to a dog's diet?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we use a lot of mushrooms in our practice. Both from the standpoint of helping kind of maintain health, but also for animals that have medical conditions, particularly medical conditions that may involve the immune system or chronic inflammation. Mushrooms contain compounds called beta-glucans, which interact with the immune system in a really positive way to just kind of help optimize immune system function. And at the end of the day, the better the immune system is functioning, the healthier the body is overall. So I think there are so many different kinds of mushrooms out there, but as a rule, they can be very, very beneficial as health supplements.
Amazing.
I think it's important to just remember that these are health promoting supplements, so you don't have to wait until something's wrong or there's a condition. It's just they're great. Both mushrooms and cannabis or CBD are great for overall health and wellness as a preventative.
Yeah, preventative measures are really what we want to focus on, right? That way they're living that strong, healthy lifestyle all the way through until they're older.
Right.
So incredible.
And that's when they need it for inflammation and that kind of thing when they get older and the joints start hurting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have another question that came in. It's one of our viewers says, I have a 10-year-old, I'm not sure, STD poodle? Standard. Okay. I was like, I'm not sure. I have a 10-year-old standard poodle, no health issues, but has separation anxiety when we leave at night. Plus, she has car anxiety. She drools, doesn't matter if it's 12 hours or 2 minutes. What might work? Have tried everything from homeopathy, acupuncture, herbs, psychics, pheromones. Any other ideas? And they also mentioned they have the Holistic Hound CBD Nourish to Flourish, but they haven't tried it yet, which I think we're going to say we should try it.
Definitely try it. There's no downside, so it very well may help. And if it doesn't, I would just try modifying the dosing, because there's still a lot more research that needs to be done on that. Our supplements recommend a very minimal dose to start, and then we just tell people to go up incrementally from there if they don't get the results they're looking for.
Start low and go slow. That's what we always say.
And don't feed them before you're going to be driving. Just teach your dog to be flexible and when it expects its food so that you can wait and feed the dog when you get to your destination.
Oh, very good tips.
I mean, less likely to be nauseous with an empty belly.
And Dr. Richter, do you have any input on this?
Yeah, you know, I mean, whenever we look at behavioral issues like separation anxiety or car-related anxiety, I mean, you know, certainly things like CBD, other supplements can be helpful, but at the end of the day, probably the single biggest thing that we can do to make a difference is training.
Yes.
Is behavioral modification training. You know, if you think about it through the lens of, say, a person with an anxiety disorder, as a rule, you can't medicate that away, even with pharmaceuticals. I mean, usually people with anxiety disorders, it's therapy that really helps. And it's the same thing with dogs. I mean, what we have to do is we have to get them to a place where they understand or at least are reasonably okay with us leaving the house.
Yes.
And similarly with putting them in the car. And that is and for better or for worse, that is often a time-consuming process, and it is something that you have to do consistently over time. You can't just do it for a while and figure they're trained and walk away. Yeah. It's something that you really have to do for the duration. So it's an investment to get it done.
And how does one invest their time in this? Or is it simply their time? Do you recommend any books, or do you find a specific trainer to help? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend that people get in touch with a trainer in their area, or if the problem is really severe, a veterinary behaviorist.
Okay.
And depending on where this person lives, I mean, they can certainly get in touch with their veterinarian, and I'm sure their veterinarian can recommend some good trainers or a behaviorist in their area.
Okay, very good to know.
Yeah.
All of these things, such resources, right?
And the CBD can help just take the edge off a little bit to make them more, receptive to the behavior modification.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And from the rescue standpoint, I would say early training, you know, don't wait.
Yes.
Get them used to things when they're young. Like
You really
these guys.
have to.
Yeah.
It's very true. You're right. Well, it looks like we're about 3 minutes away from our next giveaway, which I'm so excited. We have the Holistic Hound supplements as well as the Ultimate Pet Health Guide. Once again, if you would like to win, make sure that you take the link from this live cast and share it on your social media. And let us know where you've done that and show it to us. We really want to get these products into your hands. These are also going to be available as a bundle on the HelloMD website. We've already been carrying Holistic Hound on the HelloMD site because we're such believers in it and have seen and heard that it works. So be sure to let us know. I just want to challenge everybody also, once again, to let us know your pet's name because I want to know what cute names are out there. This is really, really incredible medicine and supplements for everyday use, or what would you say?
For everyday use or for, just many, many different ailments, as we talked about, inflammation, pain, seizures, anti-tumor, they're antioxidants. So, yeah, there's almost
so many great things.
Yeah, so many great things.
I love it. And Lynne, could you just touch on how would one adopt one of these pets, or what is the process like? How is it hard? Is it scary?
No, it's not. We try not to make it scary.
Yeah.
No, we just like to talk to people once they've decided on an animal that they're interested in adopting. Our website, milofoundation.org. has all the pictures of all the puppies that we have, all the dogs that we have, cats and kittens that we have, and we have a lot. We usually have 85 to 100 animals under our roof in Point Richmond. We have, cats, kittens, puppies, dogs. So go to our website, milofoundation.org, and you can send in a questionnaire just to answer some basic questions about what your lifestyle is and what you're looking for in a new family member with 4 legs. And then basically we just suggest come in. We're open 11 to 5 every day except for Tuesday. Yeah. Just come in and meet the animals, and I'm sure that we can help you. What? I'm sure we can help you come up with your best new friend. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a right animal for every person, right?
There is.
And there are so many different personalities out there, just like people. So whether you live a very active lifestyle or maybe...
Or you just want a nice,
hang
lap
out at
dog,
home.
lap cat, and just take it easy.
You can
We have
find
mellow, and we have very active. We have a lot of herding breed dogs and pups, and then we have, we have everything from the Chihuahua on up to the Great Dane or the Great Pyrenees and St. Bernard right now. Beautiful. Yeah, so all sorts.
Yeah, you can find your new workout buddy.
Don't
So
eat the baskets.
everybody, it is time for our next giveaway, and we're so excited to announce our winner, HJack12. Congratulations, you just won yourself some holistic hound treats and supplements, as well as the ultimate pet health guide. And everyone, I'm really excited because now we're about to bring on our new special guest.
That's right.
So we have a special guest that's going to be joining us. Their name is Chorizo.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So we're going to bring in little Cho because they are one of the Milo Foundation's success stories as far as health and
Open this
yeah.
gate.
Come on.
Yeah. Come on,
Hey,
Cho.
little Cho. We're bringing
Push
on
that
Cho.
open. Cho. Come on, my buddy.
Here we go.
And maybe we'll
Hi.
have you
Lily
exit.
go.
There we go. And Lily's going to go hang
Lily's
out
gonna go.
and watch us on camera. So
Oh,
please,
Cho.
Lynn, if you wouldn't mind telling us about Cho and what is
Yes.
Cho's story?
This is Chorizo, and he is typically called Cho. You know, he says, you can call me Cho, or you can call me Cupcake. He's got cupcakes on his collar. He is basically an unofficial mascot for the Milo Foundation. We took Cho in almost 4 years ago now from a fellow who was homeless and having a battle with alcohol and drug abuse and couldn't get himself together, but would not go into a rehab and have to give up his dog. You know, kudos to that, of course. So, you know, he'd lived with Cho on the streets and in cars for many, many years. And when they walked in the door, Cho was very uneven in his gait. His tail was, you know, just kind of half-mast. And you could tell he was in pain. And of course, his person was having his own pain issues. But we said we would take care of Chorizo while his owner went and took care of himself. And the idea was that he would have him back once he got over his addictions and could have a place to live. So he went off, and unfortunately he kept coming back, and he could never kick his habits. So eventually he actually asked me if I would keep Cho, and everyone loves Cho. He's got a huge fan club. Chorizo, huh, buddy, what's up?
He's very relaxed. Perhaps he's had some CBD lately.
Yeah. He has gone through such a transformation from when he arrived. His fur was very dried out, and he was very scaly. And as I said, you know, he was just kind of slow in his gait, and he seemed like he was on death's door, basically. He had a torn ACL. He had, you know, various things wrong, and you know, obviously been eating a very, you know, mixed up diet of, you know, leftover human food and God only knows what. But, you know, a loyal and loving companion to this fellow big time. So we started giving Cho CBDs. And he turned into just this happy, goofy curmudgeon. I mean, I take him to the beach, and he's up and down the shoreline, owning the beach, you know, and, you know, goes in the water up to his chest. He goes to parks, he rolls. I mean, he is like a famous roller. I mean, just on his back, and he just moves and shakes. And he's an official greeter at the Milo Foundation. And he helps teach people about pit bulls. They're like, what kind of dog is that? And I go, well, he's a little pit bull. And, you know, they realize their kids can come up to the dog with the cupcake collar, and he'll give everyone a kiss. He's a major kisser. Cho. Yeah, but he is getting old. He's forever 14.
Okay.
He was supposed to be 14 when we got him, and he seemed like he was 14 then. But that was 4 years ago, so he's not 18.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly, but
Forever 14. I like
he
that.
can jump. Yeah, exactly. He can jump into the car now, or I had to always lift him before. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of warm in here. I think he's having nap time, and he snores like nobody's business.
Oh, what a beautiful success story, though.
Oh, and he has
so
such a
great.
big heart. Such a big heart. He's a great dog. Yeah.
Well, it seems like he's been a very good companion for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And my other dogs, and yes, for everyone. Yep.
I
He's
love
delightful.
it. It's beautiful to see that. So we have another question from the audience. So what would you say about a dog that's at an older age that has been adopted but was abandoned previously? It sounds like this dog is having some barking issues. I'm going to direct this one to you, Dr. Richter. What do you do with barking issues?
Well, I mean, but that comes back to our discussion of earlier of behavioral related issues, and I mean, clearly, a lot of dogs, and it certainly sounds like it is the case with this dog, that they have had trauma in their lives, but both sometimes physical, but very frequently emotional trauma. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, they've been abandoned, they've been abused, they've been hungry. There's trauma involved, and there's no way that these animals don't have some form of post-traumatic stress, just like a person would. There's some interesting research that's being done looking at the use of CBD to treat PTSD in people. And the biochemistry and the brain chemistry involved with that is really fascinating. But the bottom line is it does seem like it can be helpful. I think just based on the situation that you describe, I don't think that CBD nor any other one thing is going to make that go away. Again, that's a function of providing that dog with a stable home and having them start to become comfortable where they are, and working with them from a training perspective, because training gives them stability and routine, which makes them more relaxed and more comfortable. So again, long-term project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Training is a lifelong thing I'm learning with my two dogs.
It is.
They're always learning, and even when your own situations change, or if you move homes or things like that, they have to relearn everything.
Yep.
So it's so true. And we have another question as well, and this one is going to go to Heidi. Heidi, what would you recommend for those who are using the Holistic Hound supplements as far as frequency? Do you recommend administering daily or as needed? If as needed, what's the timeline for dosage?
I think it just depends on what the condition is that's being treated. You can certainly use occasionally for acute situations, but if you're dealing with chronic conditions, it's best to give it every day, maybe even twice a day, depending on what the situation is. So there's no one right answer for that. It just really depends on what you're using it for.
Amazing. Okay. And it looks like we're about 3 minutes out from our next giveaway. We have another winner coming very soon. So let's talk. I'd like to hear your pitch on the Holistic Hound supplements. What do we actually have here that we're giving away, and what are the dosages that are here?
Okay, so on the oil, it's 100 milligrams of CBD in the bottle. So each dropper is about 3.3 milligrams of CBD, and the dosing is on the bottle. And right now, again, we start with a very low dose. So, we generally recommend about 1 milligram of CBD per 10 pounds of body weight, roughly. Our oils are organically grown and THC free, so they're very, very safe, and they're full spectrum oils. So they have all the constituents of the plant that work together that provide more benefit than just CBD alone, because that's just one cannabinoid in the plant of over 100. And then our bites, the gray label, are 7.5 milligrams of CBD in each bite, and we recommend 1 bite per 50 to 60 pounds. So it's great for those larger dogs. Okay. And again, once or twice a day, depending on what's going on, or you could use it just as needed for thunderstorms or fireworks or something like that. And then the large bag, and that's also pasture-raised chicken. And then the large bag is 3 milligrams of CBD. And that we recommend 1 per about 25 pounds. And again, this is also chicken, but we have lamb as well, and they're all found on HelloMD. And yeah.
Amazing.
So, and they all have mushrooms in them too.
And they all have mushrooms.
The oil doesn't, but all the bites do.
Great. And along with this, we also have the Ultimate Pet Health Guide by Dr. Richter. And Dr. Richter, can you tell us a little bit about what people will find in this book?
Sure. So, I originally put this book together because I wanted to be able to give people a resource if they did not have access to a holistic or an integrative veterinarian. Mm-hmm. So what they'll find in the book is the beginning of the book is a very elaborate and detailed discussion about nutrition, and about how and why pet foods are the way that they are, and how to how to look for an appropriate, ideal diet for your dog or for your cat. Moving on from there, there's a discussion about what integrative care looks like, how both Western medicine and holistic medicine can be folded in together to achieve better results. There is an entire chapter in the book on cannabis specifically. So there's dosing information in there. There's guidelines that people can use to familiarize themselves with how to use cannabis in animals. And then moving beyond that, there are chapters on discussions of integrative care for various medical conditions, so arthritis or kidney disease or heart disease, and how to approach those both from a Western and a holistic perspective. And then lastly, there are homemade recipes in there. So if people want to make food for their dog or their cat at home, there's recipes in there so people can do that and know that they're feeding a well-balanced diet.
Wonderful. I love cooking for my dogs. I usually only do it when they're kind of sick, unfortunately, right? That's usually when people end up cooking for their dogs. They find that they need a more bland diet. But I think I'm really excited to take a peek later and grab a few of those recipes. So it looks like we have our next winner. Congratulations to Rin Amp. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be emailing you about how you're going to claim your prizes. And we have still one more giveaway that is going to be coming, so stay tuned, everyone. Once again, let us know that you are watching. Repost this the link to this live stream on your social media, and then send us the link to your social media. So maybe we'll follow you back, but also see that you're sharing this with others. This is information that we want available for everybody.
Yep.
Because almost everybody has a pet that they love, or we all certainly have friends that have pets that they love.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
And it can benefit.
Yes. And so what have you seen with the adoption process and your animals? Do you get to see them later after they've been adopted?
Yes, we love that. Lots of our adopters keep sending in, happy endings, photos, and updates on how they're doing. We actually have groups of puppies that were all adopted, a litter of puppies. They'll have reunions at our dog park when they're a year old and that kind of thing. We love when people share on both our Instagram as well as our Facebook page, and just email. They send us photos, and mostly it's all happy reports. Every once in a while it's like help, Yeah, so we try and do our best to make everyone be happy, the adopters, and of course we want the animal to be happy in the home. So we work hard at that.
Yeah, it's so important. And what happens to the dogs if they're not adopted?
Well, we have a sanctuary. We're actually a true no-kill organization because we have our sanctuary, which is 283 acres up in Mendocino County.
Okay.
It's rural and rugged, and the dogs have big fenced yards to be in. So our adoption center is stressful. It's a kennel environment with a lot of animals, a lot of people coming and going, and some of the dogs do get very stressed by that. If they don't get a home and they're stressed out at our adoption center, they can go up to our sanctuary and have a big space and have other dogs to just run around and de-stress. There's very little stimulation up there. There's just staff, some volunteers, and open space. So we see dogs that have left our adoption center like, I got to get out of here, and just mortified. They've had it, and maybe they've been an adoption return, something like that. So anyways, and then we take them up there, and they've gone from tail down to tail up and the nose in the air, and just look at this space and all this grass. And so, it works for a lot of the dogs to be able to be up there, and then we can still try and get them a home. It's just that they need a more special home, and they need the time to de-stress, and that's why we have our sanctuary.
And so are dogs that are at the sanctuary still available for adoption, or once they're there, are they home?
3/4 of them are available for adoption. A quarter of them either have, bite histories or whatnot that make them too much of a liability to adopt out, but they're with other dogs and they're happy and social, and they're dogs. Yes. We also have some semi-feral kind of wolf hybrid-y mixes and whatnot that are adoptable, but obviously the people that we're going to allow to adopt them, are going to have to
Be the
fill
right
as
fit.
yes, right fit, right kind of yard, right kind of space. They need to have other dogs. A lot of dogs really benefit from having the socialization of other dogs. That's a big mistake that a lot of people make. You know, keeping their dog just separate and pulled back, and they build up aggression.
Certainly.
You know, playing with another dog is really good medicine.
And so for those who are thinking to adopt a dog and say they already have a dog in their home, what are some of the recommendations or things that you would look at in your recommendations to them as to what they should be looking for, say if they have a male dog or a female dog, and age-wise as well?
Right. It's good to have your dogs be somewhat different ages. I've known friends that have, 3 or 4 dogs, whatever, but they're all like within a year or two age. And then, it starts happening and boom, they die. All of a sudden you've got old dogs you have to help and vet bills and whatnot, and you got, a whole bunch. So it's nice to get a puppy and train that puppy, make that puppy be integrated with your lifestyle and happy in your home, well trained. And then when that puppy's, 3 or so, maybe and you want to have some company for the pup, that's great. But it's important that you do the work with each dog individually is best. And then I have dogs of all different sizes. I have a little 7-pound dog, and I have a 65-pound Aussie. Getting dogs from a young age, used to being around other size dogs and whatnot, is really helpful.
Okay.
But our adoption center has, every kind of dog under the sun, and we, have new ones coming in all the time. So the important thing is to just treat your dog like a family member, train your dog, keep your dog socialized, provide lots of stimulation.
Yes.
A bored dog is not a good dog. A bored dog is destructive. A bored dog barks. A bored dog chews on itself. It's important that you have the right lifestyle to be a good fit for the dog that you adopt. If you live in an apartment, you don't want a border collie puppy.
Unless you are a marathon runner and you're
Yeah,
gonna be out
right.
all
Yeah,
the time.
maybe, exactly.
And Dr. Richter, we do have another question that came in regarding other animals. So you mentioned that you also treat cats and other animals.
Yeah.
They would like to know if CBD has been applied to those other animals or what their systems would be like as well.
When you say other animals, we're talking about non-dogs and cats?
Non-dogs. I think we are talking
Non-dogs.
about cats.
Okay, so certainly I have seen a lot of cats that are on CBD or other forms of cannabis, and I have seen them do very, very well.
Okay.
And as a general rule, we sort of look at the dosing when it comes to cannabis with dogs and cats in a very similar way. Now, when we're talking about species outside of dogs or cats, without a doubt, these animals have an endocannabinoid system.
Okay.
But the bottom line is there's just not enough scope of experience or research out there to even know where to begin from a dosing perspective. So, whether it's a guinea pig or a bird or a reptile, I mean, we just don't know. Well, there are people that are starting to look at cannabis with horses, and the preliminary information that's coming out is much like is the case with many other drugs. The dosage in the sense of like milligrams per pound of body weight is extremely low by comparison to say like a dog or a cat.
Right. Yeah, horses take
or a
tiny
human.
bits.
So in many cases with
Amazing.
medication, you would dose a horse with a similar dose of medication you might give a large dog.
Really?
So their metabolism is just very different.
Okay.
But again, I mean it's all very, very preliminary as it pertains to cannabis.
Hopefully we can federally legalize so we can
Yes.
start doing the research.
That would be
so
lovely.
It's not so scary for
Yes.
those who want to do the research and do the work and learn about these things. Correct?
Agreed.
We've used the poultices, the topical CBD ointments on our horses, and seen some nice effects.
happy
in
with
the,
that?
Yeah,
Good.
just helping the inflammation.
Good.
And some pain relief, I think, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, topicals can be great.
Yeah.
All kinds of products
Yeah.
out there
Absolutely.
that exist.
Yeah.
Which is, we live in exciting times. That's all I can say.
Yes.
That we are, I think, once again, embracing really what is ancient medicine.
Yeah.
And I am all for Western medicine. It has its place in my world, but at the same time, it's important to understand that there's so much knowledge out there that our ancestors already did the work to find out. So it's time that
Agreed.
we apply it to our
Agreed.
lives.
Yep.
Right.
And Heidi, do you have any last words as regarding your products and what people can look for? And once again, could you go over some of the ailments that people are using your products to treat?
Yeah, again, primarily what we see is that people are seeking them out for anxiety, inflammation, pain, any kind of inflammations. It's great for GI conditions. They're, for seizures. People are using it to help either with the side effects of treating for cancer or for, for that, for tumors, if they don't want to go a more traditional route, and also just for immune support. And I think what's important when you're selecting products is that, you go with a reputable company, the hemp should be grown organically, that's very, very important. Third-party testing so that you know what you're getting is also very important.
And I'm assuming you guys do all of these things.
We do all those things.
If you are, and it's just like anything that you're putting into your body, you should be taking those things into consideration for your pet's body.
Agreed.
And trying to find the best that is out there.
Yeah,
it is the ultimate way of loving them.
Yes.
That's right.
So we are just a few minutes away from our very last giveaway. I'm so excited. So just to recap all of these amazing things, we have supplements from the Holistic Hound, along with the hemp full spectrum oil. And how would one apply this to their dog?
Directly in the mouth. This is traditional hemp oil. It's not water soluble, not using that technology. And so it's better if you give it directly in the mouth away from food.
Okay.
You're going to get greater bioavailability that way.
Perfect. So if you're watching, you can win these 3 items along with the ultimate pet health guide from Dr. Richter. It's also signed, so it's a limited edition here. We want to make sure we get these. And if you'd like to win one last time, go ahead and drop us a comment. Let us know that you're watching, maybe where you're from. Maybe let us know your pet's adorable name, because I need some inspiration. I may be adopting another one soon.
There you go.
We'll see. And then also be sure to share the link to this live cast to your own social media. We want to get the word out there that HelloMD is educating people about these amazing products and making it super available to you. And if you don't win, all of these products are available on the HelloMD website. So you can actually get this bundle at a deep discount through Sunday. So that's available just for a few more days. So we want to make sure that we make it easy for people to get the medicine that they need for their pets.
And they also come in that jute bag.
Oh, let's hold up the bag. Look at this adorable bag. The Holistic Hound bag. We had to hide this from the puppies earlier.
Yeah.
They were going at it with this
Puppies were
bag.
going for it.
Favorite bag.
So exciting. It actually is perfect for, I think, teething puppies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good dog toy.
Dual use, potentially.
right.
And it looks like we have our winner. And our winner happens to be a very special friend, Sabo Shen, who was our guest on our last show.
Oh, really?
So congratulations, Sabo.
That's great.
I'm quite sure that he's reposted this several times because I know he really wanted to be here, and I'm sure he wanted to win. So congratulations, Sabo. Everyone, thank you so much. Do we have any last words regarding pet health or inspiration for those who've been tuning in?
Spay and neuter your animals.
Oh. Oh, well, Heidi,
And
thank
just
you.
to reach out if you have any questions to HelloMD and they'll
Great.
answer your questions.
Dr. Richter.
Preventative medicine is the best medicine. Any disease that we can prevent is always a better disease than the one that we have to treat.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to HelloMD Live. Once again, I'm your host, Eliza Maroney, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Bye.